So we're here at the Brooklyn Bridge, one of the great landmarks in this great country of America. And I'm just here enjoying the vibes before I got to head out to Ohio. And we're going to continue the long-standing tradition of covering Japanese boxing here on True School Sports. True School Sports, the #1 source, the Ichiban source for Japanese boxing in America. Now listen, guys, Jin Sasaki, he's preparing for a September homecoming fight in Hachioji, Tokyo, Japan, as he takes on, and I'm probably going to butcher his name, but David Semeju from Africa. He holds the Japanese title at welterweight. He also holds, I believe, one of the other regional titles, I can't remember, and then Jin Sasaki has the OBPF title, which he just won in this fight against Sora Tanaka. Jin Sasaki's ranked. Jin Sasaki's building his way into being a legitimate contender in the division. And inevitably, he will get a fight at the world level again against a top 15 guy probably next year. But right now, this is about continuing to build off of some of the good things that did happen in his last fight against Sora Tanaka, where he beat him and outboxed him in the Tokyo Dome. Now, he's in Vegas right now. I'm not in camp with him like I was last time, but I do know he is training with one of the coaches from Team Leo. Shout out to Coach Jonathan Balgame, as well as Jin's coach, Hiro Takanakaya, and Jin's kind of going back and forth between a couple of gyms and getting his trainings in. But I saw he was down there at Ismail Salas's gym, and he got sparring with a very interesting fighter, a guy that we haven't seen nor have we heard from in a while now in boxing. And this guy was really highly touted at one point. This guy was looked at to be the dark horse of the 154-pound division, and that guy is none other than Charles Conwell. Yes, that Charles Conwell. Jin Sasaki was sparring with Charles Conwell at Salas' gym. I don't know what happened. I don't know how it went, but I think it's quite interesting because Conwell is very strong. Conwell has the ability to power box you, to counter, to lead the exchanges. This is a guy in Conwell that people had world championship projections for. He was looked at to be the dark horse of 154 pounds. So he's definitely a world level guy, world level contender. And Jin sparring with him before he goes into what figures to be another tough fight against, a good, I'll say Asian level opponent before, getting onto the world level. It's good preparation for him, and it's going to help his level of experience in terms of dealing with explosive, hard-punching American fighters, because at some point in time when you're in the welterweight division, you're going to have to deal with another hard-hitting, explosive, hard-punching American fighter, whether it's Brian Norman Jr. in a rematch or not. There's a lot of Americans in this weight class, so it's good to get a look at that style. So we'll see how it goes for Jim. But for Conwell, we haven't seen Charles Conwell in a boxing ring since April of 2025, when he lost to Jorge Garcia Perez. And that fight really messed his career up because he hasn't fought since then. Golden Boys put him on the shelf, and Jorge Garcia Perez ultimately went on to fight Xander Zayas on ESPN on Top Rank's last ever card. He lost to Xander Zayas, and he kind of even screwed up Xander Zayas' perception, because Conwell was so highly touted, and if Xander would have been able to fight Conwell and beat him, I think it would have actually done him some favors. But hopefully this means that Charles Conwell is fighting soon, that he's fighting again, because I still think he's 28 years old. He's not old. In fact, he's very much, in terms of age, he's very much in the prime of his career. So I want to see Charles Conwell back. I want to see him active, and I want to see him become a player again at 154. Xander Zayas, I don't think will be around much longer. So, the division is going to thin out a little bit. You still got, I don't know if he's still a Golden Boy, but if he is, I always thought that Golden Boy was going to explore him and put him in a fight against Virgil Ortiz. If he is under contract with them still, I still see that as a possible option, because Virgil's gonna have to get back active, as is Conwell. So they're both coming off of layoffs. They're both coming off of inactivity. They're both with Golden Boy, and even though it's a tough fight for Virgil, it's a tough fight for Conwell, and I think Conwell will be able to. Virgil should beat Conwell, right? He'd be the favorite. So Golden Boy, I'm sure will have they'll want probably Virgil to win because they put more money into his career, but. Yeah, it's good to see him back, and I'm sure it was great work, because those are two very explosive fighters. Those are two guys that know how to let the leather fly and let their hands go. So I think it's good for both fighters. Jin gets to look at an explosive, hard punching high-level, world-level Black American fighter. Charles Conwell deals with this gunslinging Japanese guy who, you know, is maturing and is still tapping into some of the potential that I think he does have. So we'll see how it goes. But ultimately, the only guy of the two that has a fight scheduled is Jin, and that'll be the Hachioji homecoming against the African, David Samaju, which I'm probably saying his name wrong, but yeah, him. He wins that fight. He pretty much has all the, you know, regional belts on the Asian level. And then hopefully the fine folks at Hachioji Nakaya Boxing Gym will step Jin Sasaki up to the world level, maybe fight somebody in the lower top 15, and then really start making a case, really start building towards a potential world title shot in 2027. Because like I said, I think Jin Sasaki still has a lot of potential. I haven't written him off, you know, getting back onto that world stage and really making something of himself in boxing. And I still give him, you know, a chance to become, make history, make unprecedented history in the sport of boxing, which is to become the first Japanese fighter to ever win a welterweight world title. And if he does that, if he's able to like follow through and do that, then he becomes a superstar overnight over there in Japan. So definitely one of the more intriguing potential things that could happen in Japanese boxing. But that's the news, guys. I don't want to ramble on too much longer. You know, you guys see it. We're here in Brooklyn Bridge, and yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below, and I will go ahead and I'll see you in the next video.